What's up, everybody? Circus here, coming at you with the half-price gem sale video. A lot of people are saying already, what do we get? What do we get with the half-price gem sale? And I know you probably want me just to give you a list of cards and say, go get these right away. They're gonna make you a better player. They're gonna be great in your collection, and that's just simply not true, right? So we want to be careful with what we spend our gems on here, and I want to make good recommendations, or at least have you understand why I'm making the recommendations that I'm making here. So I'm going to ramble for a little bit and hopefully give you some clarity on that. So please stick with me if you can. So if you've been following the channel for a long time, you guys know I used to wail all the time on boxes. We did that whole series, Let's All Laugh at Circus, of me spending hundreds of dollars on the game trying to get 3 of everything. And recently, I kind of switched over to like a free-to-play series, which is, I'll have linked in the description below. There's a playlist where I sat for the past 4 months building free-to-play decks, or I should say top decks free-to-play, okay? So I build whatever the hot decks were. I did Blue Eyes, Harpies, Resonators, and Gimmick Puppets, all free-to-play, but I didn't spare any expense. I didn't do free-to-play options for the most part. So I learned a lot by doing that. And the biggest thing I learned is grinding out gems takes a long time. Now, I use new accounts, and that's the system I always recommend, is you should have multiple accounts, because when you get a new account, you're going to get a ton of resources. You get like dream tickets, you get tons of gems, and building that first deck, oh man, you can just build whatever you want and build it out just the best way possible. You don't have to worry about like, oh, I'm free to play, I can't get the best cards. It's like, yeah, you can, because gems are so easy to get in the beginning, right? And then usually on that same account, I would build a second deck. And what I found is by the time I get to the second deck, the gem farming takes a lot longer, right? So building that second deck, I found I was grinding a lot more characters. It took a lot more time, and it becomes more time intensive to build that second deck. So after I built 2 decks on an account, I would start a new account and then do the process again. So I could imagine for some of you that have been in the game for a long time, you might have an account that's 3-4 years old, or maybe a year or 2 or whatever. You know what I'm talking about, right? It's hard to grind out those gems, and maybe you save up 5 or 10,000 gems, and then this sale comes along, and it's like, I got 10,000 gems, everything's half price. I got to go in on this. And I guess I would recommend some caution here, because even at half price, is that a good way to spend your gems? And that's what I always tell people to think about, like what you're going to be doing. Is it, even at half price, is it a good thing to do? And my recommendation always is, you should be finishing a deck. You should be building a deck. That's why I recommend like the multiple account system, because you can kind of just focus on a deck and just buy what you need. Whereas if you have like a real robust account, it's a lot of work, right? And I think a lot of times you're going to put more time into it than the value you're going to get out of it, especially with the way the game's moving right now. And let me kind of explain a little bit. Now, these are some old decks from the DLM website. Thank God they saved decks for like a year on there. Now, these are from August of last year. These are meta decks. These were in tournaments, okay? So you can see on here Blue Eyes and Dark Magician, and you can see what are some of what we call staples here. We see Karma Cut, we see Canadia, we see Raigeki Break, Phoenix Chain, Ballista Squad, right? So imagine trying to get all those nowadays, right? But look at this. Okay, so here are 2 more decks, Element Sabers and Neos, and look at all those limits they put on these decks to get them out of the meta. But again, Phoenix Chain, Canadia, we got Bad Aim in there, we got Karma Cut, what else? Phoenix Chain, Ultimate Providence. So there's all those, and then I got one more here for you. Shiranui, you got same thing, Phoenix Chain, Ballista Squad, Canadia. So like a year ago, it was really easy for us to say, when people are like, what should we go after? And it's like, well, look at the meta. What can you get on the half price gem sale? It's like Canadias, Floodgates, Cosmic Cyclones. You can throw these in any deck, and you can see like, yeah, maybe you couldn't afford Phoenix Chain, but you could have thrown Floodgate in there and been just fine. You know what I mean? So it was a lot easier, and it made more sense. Like even a year ago, just like go whole hog on this sale and go crazy. And that's, but things have changed, and that's what I wanted to kind of show people is nowadays. Look at these decks. Look what's hot nowadays. This is Gaia and Harpies. I know Harpies isn't as hot, but it's still getting played in tournaments a lot. And what are we seeing nowadays? We're seeing Book of Moon. We're seeing Mystical Space Typhoon. Now we see Tretch in here, so that's good because that is on sale, right? So Tretch is there. And here's two more. Here's Automats and Resonators. Again, Book of Moon, Mystical Space Typhoon. Again, you see some Tretch here. But I'm just pointing out, like, what's hot now has changed. Like, what the back row has changed. Like, let's see, Automats here does have Phoenix Chain, but for what that's doing, that could literally be any card. And I think I have one more here. Yeah, Thunder Dragons. Again, not a lot of back row. So there isn't like a lot of common back row besides Mystical Space Typhoon and I already forgot it. Mystical Space Typhoon and Book of Moon. How can I forget Book of Moon? So when people say, what should I get from this half-price gem sale? It's like, well, what are you doing with your account? Are you just like building like a robust account where you want to have everything on it? Or are you trying to complete a deck? And I always encourage people to complete a deck because like right now, the way the game is, they're just releasing very anime specific decks now. And those decks are very specialized. They have specialized skills, specialized archetyped cards and things like that. So there isn't really, besides Book of Moon and MST, there really aren't like those set staples that you can fit into any deck and are on sale right now. So people are like, Circus, you crazy, man. I want to have 3 of everything. Well, if you want to do that, get in there, boy. But if you're just like, joining the game and you want to build like a very specific deck, which is what I recommend, only spend gems on what you need. Use the half-price gem sale as a tool, not just like you're just gonna splurge, you know what I mean? And the other thing I wanted to point out is we've had 3 gem sales this year, I believe, right? In the previous like 3 years of the game, I think we had 1 to 2 a year, maybe. They were really spread out. So like this year we've already had like 3. So I'm guessing these are going to become a lot more frequent. So if you don't get something now, I'm guessing we'll probably have another one by the end of the year. So don't feel like you're missing out if you don't get anything right now either. Now everybody's like, just tell us what cards to get, Circus. All right. Let's. Now this is a list. I'm going to put it up. There's some stuff on here, and I want to explain why I have it on here. All right. So let's start going through this. Right now, if we were looking at some of those decks that I was showing you, we did see a lot of Forbidden Chalice, and that one I would recommend getting because that did get played in a couple different decks, and it is half price. And what's cool in that box is Wall of D is there. Now, is this a card that you're going to want to get? Not necessarily, but if you're new and you're playing on the ladder, this card wrecks people, and it's already in the box, so why not get it while you're already there? That's what I did on one of my accounts, on one of my free-to-play accounts. You can get Forbidden Chalice and Wall of Disruption at the same time. What else? Okay, so what else is hot right now? Cosmic Cyclone, you always need back row removal, so I would always recommend getting something like that. If you can't afford to get MST, this is a good replacement, but the box is garbage, right? Complete garbage, and that's the problem with all these older cards, these older boxes. They don't even have like playable archetypes in them, a lot of them. You know, like you're just going in and you're getting this card, and the rest of the stuff you're not going to use, and that's why I'm saying be very careful with what you purchase. So don't go get all this stuff, okay? What was some other ones? Drowning, it's a really great card, but it's not in a lot of decks. You see like Yusenji's using it. People sneak it in as like a tech to, people aren't expecting them. Bam, they get hit with it, right? Floodgate Trap Hole, this is another great card. This one I would recommend just getting because I love it. It's just great way to shut your opponent down. But again, if you're not really using it, I wouldn't recommend it either, but it is a great card. Of course, I forgot. How could I forget to put Canadia in here? You guys will have to just blast me for that. There you go. Canadia is just another version of Floodgate. Now, there's a few other cards that you could use in there, but again, if you're just going after Canadia, like I wouldn't worry about getting the Anki in the box. I wouldn't worry about getting the Needle Sealing in the box. I would be very targeted. Once I get the Canadia, reset. Same with Floodgate. Once I get that, I reset. Treacherous Trap Hole was the other one. That's why I wanted to point out with Forbidden Chalice. This is a hot card right now in the meta in Forbidden Chalice. You're seeing both these cards in the same deck at the same time. So these are probably the best ones in the meta right now. Does that mean they're going to be the best ones even a week from now? Who knows with the way the meta changes, but Those are the two hot ones right now. Now, I did have some other ones in here I wanted to point out. Now, like Gozuki. This is an amazing card. So is this one, Vermilion Dragon Mech, Black Rose Dragon. Amazing cards for their time, and they could be amazing in the future. But unless you're, like, with Gozuki, unless you're playing, like, Shiranui or, like, Vampires, you're not going to need this card. So should you go after it because one day you're going to play zombies? No. No, 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 no. Those gems would be much better spent on getting some MSTs or going after that Book of Moon, you know what I mean? What was the other ones? Oh yeah, same with these. These are great cards. When we were in Synchro era, if you didn't have these cards, you weren't playing the game. Nowadays, there isn't a Synchro deck that's like in the top 10 of the power rankings besides Resonators, and Resonators definitely doesn't use these cards. And these are both URs, so you might get stuck trying to get these. So, were they once king of the game? Yes. Could they be again? Maybe, but would I go after them? No, because I'm not going to waste my gems because I know how hard it is to grind those gems and build decks free to play. So that's where I'm at with that. Sphere Kribo, again, this is another great card that's on sale right now. But if it's not used specifically in the deck you're playing, I would have a hard time doing it. I would have a hard time with all these. But these are probably what I would say are the cream of the crop, okay? And I think the last one I wanted to point out, this is like a trap right here. Dimensional Prison, this is on sale, half price. Is it a good card? Yes. When an opponent's monster declares an attack, target that attacking monster, banish the target. That's awesome, right? It's half price. Go for it. No, I would not, because any gems that you spend on that would be better spent on Karma Cut, which is not on sale, but is just a better card in general that does the same thing. Discard one card, then target a face-up monster your opponent controls, banish that target, then banish all the cards with the same name as that monster in your opponent's graveyard. That's just a better version of Dimensional Prison in every way, and that's why I would not recommend getting something like Dimensional Prison. So if you were like, Circus, what should I get? I would say get nothing unless you need it. Now, what is good out of the stuff that's on sale? These were my recommendations, the ones I would take out of here. Bam, bam, bam. Kribo, I love you. I would take that out, and you don't have to get that, but those would be the ones I would say are great. But again, if these aren't fitting into your deck, I wouldn't get any of them. I'm not going to spend any money on any cards on my free-to-play account because my decks are built and I have the text already. So if you're looking for just like, what do I need to round out my account? Well, that's up to you. You know what your account needs. If you're trying to collect everything, go get everything. But I guess my strongest recommendation is don't buy anything unless you need to. I know that's lame, right? You guys can be like, thumbs down, Circus, thumbs down. I'm just realistic. I know what it's like. I did 4 months of just straight free to play, and I just don't want to give you guys bad recommendations because I know the time involved, the time commitment to grind out these gems and then just to throw them away on cards you're not going to use. To me, that's just like the worst crime, right? You spend like a month or two grinding out like 10,000 gems, and then you buy a bunch of cards and then you don't use them, and that's just like, I would hate to have you guys do that. I really would. That's why I'm always so cautious about recommendations, because I know what it's like, and I don't want to see you get screwed over, basically. So these are I guess are the 8 cards I think are the best out of what's on sale, but don't buy them unless you really need them. All right. So sorry if that doesn't please you. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. Get in the Discord because it's free. Terms are free. New player help is free. I'm Circus, and I'll see you next time.